The starship Aurora Wind drifted through the empty silence of deep space. The crew of 12 humans and 4 aliens worked together to keep the ship alive during its long journey toward the Vega frontier. Among them was Rian, the ship's chief mechanic. He was young but skilled, known for fixing anything from a broken gravity stabilizer to a fried plasma coil. Ryan liked quiet mornings. He often sat in the engine room, sipping a hot drink while checking the energy readings on the main console. The soft hum of the fusion core felt like a heartbeat, steady and calming. He thought it would be another normal day of system checks and repairs. Then the engine lights flickered. A faint vibration passed through the floor. The readings on the console began to dance, numbers shifting fast. Ryan frowned and tapped the screen. Something was off. The plasma flow from the secondary reactor was dropping. If it continued, the entire drive system could overheat. He stood up quickly and opened the maintenance hatch. A sharp smell of burnt metal filled the air. He grabbed his tools and crawled under the console to inspect the conduit. The wires were glowing red. Before he could start repairs, the door slid open behind him. A calm but firm voice spoke. "Rian, are you inside?" He turned his head. Standing at the doorway was Alira, the ship's alien engineer. She was from the planet Sail, a world of tall mountains and crystal seas. Her skin shimmered faintly blue under the ship's white light, and her eyes glowed like soft amber. She wore a standard engineer's coat, and her long silver hair was tied neatly. Ryan wiped his hands on a cloth and nodded. "Yeah, engine's acting strange again. I think the plasma conduit's burned out." Alira walked closer, her steps light and silent. "I noticed the power flux from my station. I came to assist. The captain wants this fixed before we jump to Vega." Rian moved aside so she could look. Together they leaned over the main reactor line. The heat made the air shimmer. Alira pulled out a small scanning tool from her belt and ran it over the damaged area. "Containment layer is cracked," she said. "That should not happen under standard pressure. Something external interfered with the system." Ryan frowned. "External? Like sabotage?" "Not necessarily," she said calmly. "It could be energy interference from the nebula we crossed yesterday. But we must check carefully." They worked side by side, unscrewing panels and checking the energy coils. Alira's hands moved fast, precise, and graceful. Ryan admired how she understood every wire and valve as if they were alive. Despite being from different worlds, they shared a language of engineering, logic, patience, and problem-solving. After a few minutes, Alira pointed at a glowing module near the back. "There, the coolant tube is blocked. The reactor cannot cool properly." Ryan reached in with his wrench, careful not to touch the hot metal. "Got it, I'll replace it." As he worked, Alira monitored the readings. The ship groaned slightly and the hum deepened. The temperature climbed higher. Ryan felt sweat on his forehead. "Pressure is rising," Alira warned. "We need to stabilize it." Ryan gritted his teeth and turned the final bolt. Almost done. He pulled out the damaged tube and slid in a new one. The moment he connected it, the engine let out a sharp hiss and then a long exhale. The readings on the monitor started to fall back to normal. The two engineers stood there, watching the lights turn steady again. Rian finally smiled. "That's better." "You were right about the coolant." Alira gave a small nod. "You were fast. If we had waited another minute, the reactor might have overheated." Ryan chuckled. "Then the captain would have had my head." Alira tilted her head slightly. "Humans often say that when they mean punishment." "Do you really lose your head for mistakes?" Ryan laughed softly. "No, it's just a saying. Means I'd get in big trouble." Alira's eyes glimmered with curiosity. Human sayings are strange but interesting. They both relaxed as the engine returned to its normal rhythm. The danger had passed, but something about the incident stayed in Ryan's mind. A cracked containment layer was no small thing. If it wasn't caused by damage or sabotage, then maybe something deeper was happening to the ship's systems. Alira noticed his thoughtful expression. "You are still worried," she said quietly. "Yeah," he admitted. "If this happened once, it might happen again. I'll run a full diagnostic tonight." "I will assist," Alira said. "We can compare data from both engines. 2 minds are better than 1. Ryan looked at her and nodded. "Thanks. I appreciate that." For a brief moment, silence filled the room. The steady hum of the reactor wrapped around them like calm after a storm. Ryan realized that Alira was studying him too, her expression unreadable but gentle. Finally, she turned away. "I will report to the captain. You should rest for a while, Rian smiled. Rest? You know me. I'll probably take apart another panel just to be sure. Alira gave what might have been a smile, a small, almost invisible curve of her lips. Humans never stop fixing what is not broken. She left the room and the door closed behind her. Ryan stood there for a long moment, staring at the glowing reactor. The ship was safe for now, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was wrong. The cracked containment layer was a sign, and he had learned long ago that signs in space should never be ignored. As the lights dimmed slightly for the ship's night cycle, he sat back down at the console. His reflection in the screen looked tired but determined. Somewhere in the distance, the stars outside shimmered through the viewport like silent witnesses. Rian took a deep breath and began running the diagnostic. Whatever was going wrong, he and Alira would find it. Humans and aliens had learned to work together for survival, and he trusted that bond more than any machine. The next morning, the Aurora Wind continued its silent journey through the dark sea of space. From the command deck, the view was calm and peaceful, but inside the engine room, Ryan was already at work again. He had barely slept. The strange damage from yesterday still bothered him. Ryan's eyes were fixed on the monitor. The diagnostic he ran overnight had finished an hour ago, and the report showed something unusual. A faint energy signature appeared in the reactor logs. It was not from any part of the ship's system. It looked like a signal, weak, scattered, but repeating at regular intervals. He rubbed his chin and muttered, "That can't be random." Just then, the door opened and Alira stepped inside, holding a small data pad. Her calm expression never changed, but her glowing eyes showed curiosity. "You are here early," she said. Rian looked up and smiled tiredly. "Couldn't sleep. The engine report is strange. There's an energy pattern I can't explain." She walked closer and placed her data pad beside his screen. "I also found something. The secondary power coils recorded a vibration that does not match our normal output." They compared the two readings. Both showed the same repeating frequency. The pattern looked like a wave that rose and fell with perfect rhythm. Alira studied it carefully. "This is not a malfunction. It looks like a transmission." Ryan blinked. "A transmission? From where?" "That is what we must find out," she said. "It could be coming from outside the ship or from inside one of the systems." Ryan's mind raced. If it was from outside, maybe someone was trying to contact them. If it was from inside, then something or someone was trying to hide. Either way, it was not normal. Alira connected her data pad to the main terminal. The lights on the console flickered as she ran a deeper scan. The humming of the reactor filled the room again. Ryan leaned over her shoulder and watched as the data scrolled fast across the screen. "Signal origin unknown," she said, "but it seems to use quantum frequencies. That means it can pass through metal without distortion. Only advanced civilizations use that method." Ryan's eyes widened. "So not pirates or smugglers?" "Correct," Alira replied. "This could be from a species with strong technology." Ryan stood still for a moment. The idea that something powerful was watching their ship made him uneasy. The Aurora Wind was a small research vessel, not a warship. If someone out there could send signals directly into their engine system, they were already inside the ship's heart. "Can we block it?" he asked. Alira shook her head. "Not yet. If we block it without knowing the source, we may trigger a reaction." "It is better to trace it," Rian sighed. "Then we trace it." They split their work. Ryan checked the wiring channels and transmission nodes while Alira handled the data analysis. For hours, they searched every system, comparing wave patterns and tracking signal strength. At last, Alira pointed at the monitor. It becomes stronger near the maintenance tunnel behind the reactor. There might be a hidden device. Ryan grabbed a flashlight and climbed down the narrow tunnel. The metal walls were warm, and the sound of the engine echoed around him. He crawled through cables and pipes until he saw a faint blue glow. It came from a small, flat object stuck to the wall. It looked like a piece of crystal with lines of light running through it. Ryan touched it carefully. The glow pulsed in response like it was alive. "Alira," he called through the comm link. "You were right. I found something. It's a crystal-shaped device. Do not remove it yet," Alira warned. "It could be connected to the ship's systems. I am sending the scan mode to your wrist unit." Ryan activated the scanner and watched as the readings appeared. The device was not human technology. Its structure was too smooth, too perfect. Inside, energy moved in complex waves that shifted faster than his scanner could read. He spoke again. "This thing is advanced, way beyond anything I've seen." Alira's calm voice replied, "That confirms it. The signal is coming from this crystal. It is sending data to somewhere outside the ship." Ryan frowned. "So someone planted it here?" "Possibly. Or it attached itself during our last nebula pass. Either way, it must be studied." He carefully detached the device and placed it inside a containment box. When he returned to the engine room, Alira was already setting up the analysis field. She took the box from him and placed it under the scanner. The device glowed faintly again, as if aware of being watched. As the readings appeared, both engineers leaned closer. Alira's expression turned serious. "This is not a beacon. It is a collector. It has been recording our ship's movements, power signatures, and communication logs." Ryan's heart skipped a beat. "You mean it's spying on us?" "Yes," she said softly. "Someone out there knows where we are and how our systems work." They looked at each other in silence. The calm hum of the engine felt heavier now, like a warning. "What should we do?" Ryan asked. "We must tell the captain," Alira said. "But first we need to secure the ship. If whoever sent this knows we found it, they might react." Ryan nodded and started isolating the communication array. Alira worked beside him, locking the power grid and encrypting the data links. Together they sealed the ship's main network within minutes. Once the system was locked, Alira contacted the bridge. The captain's voice came through, calm but firm. "Report, Engineer Alira." "We discovered an unknown device inside the engine section," she explained. "It is sending information about our systems to an external source." There was a short silence. Then the captain said, "Understood. Bring the device to the command deck immediately. We will analyze it together." Ryan picked up the box carefully. "Let's go." They walked down the metal corridor toward the elevator. The ship felt different now. Every sound, every vibration carried a strange tension. Even the lights seemed dimmer. Ryan could not stop thinking about the crystal. Who would place such a thing on their ship, and why? When they reached the bridge, the captain, a tall man named Darren, stood waiting. His sharp eyes moved from the box to the two engineers. "Show me." Alira opened the box and lifted the device with a magnetic tool. The crystal floated gently in the air. Its glow brightened, sending soft blue light across the captain's face. He studied it for a long moment. "You say it records data. Can we find where it is sending it?" Alira nodded. "We believe it transmits through a quantum channel, but we can trace the origin point by aligning the wave frequencies." "Do it," the captain ordered. As they began the process, Ryan felt a mix of fear and curiosity. The signal might lead them to a powerful civilization, or to danger beyond imagination. The readings appeared on the screen. A small red mark blinked on the galactic map, far beyond their current route. Alira stared at it. "That location is not in any of our charts. It is an unregistered system." The captain crossed his arms. "Then someone there has been watching us." Ryan's voice was quiet but steady. "Maybe it's time we watch them back." The captain nodded slowly. "Prepare a course. We are going to find out who is behind this." Ryan and Alira exchanged a determined look. The Aurora wind turned its course toward the unknown star. For the first time in days, Ryan felt something stronger than fear. He felt the call of discovery. The Aurora wind moved through deep space with quiet speed. Its engines glowed a soft blue as the ship followed the coordinates traced from the strange crystal device. No one on board spoke much. The crew felt the weight of the unknown ahead. Ryan sat beside Alira in the control room, watching the holographic map. The red marker of the signal grew closer with each passing hour. Every few minutes, Ryan checked the readings to be sure the signal remained stable. It pulsed slowly like a heartbeat in the dark. "Distance to source 300,000 kilometers, Alira said. Her calm voice broke the silence. Ryan leaned forward. "That is close enough to start scanning. Let's see what we are dealing with." She nodded and activated the long-range scanner. The screen filled with waves of color as the sensors searched the area. For a moment, there was nothing. Then a faint structure appeared on the display. Ryan's eyes widened. "That looks like a station." Alira adjusted the focus. The image became clearer. A massive structure floated in the black void, a ring of metal surrounding a glowing sphere at its center. It did not match any known human or alien design. She spoke softly. "This station is old. The metal density suggests centuries of exposure to radiation. Yet the power core is still active. Ryan stared at the image. You think whoever made it is still there? I cannot say, Alira replied. But the signal from the crystal leads directly to it. The captain's voice came through the intercom. Engineering team report. Ryan pressed the button. Captain, we found the source. It's a large orbital structure. We believe it's the origin of the tracking signal. There was a short pause. Understood. Prepare the shuttle. We are going to investigate. Ryan looked at Alira. She met his gaze and nodded once. We will go together. Within an hour, the shuttle was ready. Ryan, Alira, and 2 security officers boarded it. The small craft detached from the Aurora wind and drifted toward the mysterious station. The closer they came, the larger it appeared. Its surface was covered in cracks, but faint light still flickered along its ring. The sphere in the center glowed with a pale golden light that shimmered like fire underwater. Beautiful and strange, Ryan whispered. Alira studied her scanner. There is breathable air inside the ring section, but it is very thin. We will need our suits. The shuttle latched onto an airlock on the outer ring. The doors opened slowly with a hiss, releasing a wave of cold air. The 4 of them stepped inside, flashlights cutting through the shadows. The corridor walls were covered with strange symbols, like a mix of curves and lines that glowed faintly. The floor was smooth and clean, as if time had stopped here. Ryan's voice came through the helmet comm. Looks like no one has been here for ages. Alira walked ahead, scanning the walls. These markings are similar to the patterns on the crystal we found. This is the same technology. They continued deeper into the station until they reached a large circular room. In the center stood a tall structure shaped like an arch. Inside the arch shimmered a soft light shifting like water. Ryan stopped. That looks like a portal. Alira looked at the readings on her device. It is an energy gate, but it is inactive. The power level is low. One of the security officers moved closer. Can we turn it on? Ryan thought for a moment. If we connect our portable generator, maybe we can give it enough charge to reactivate. The captain's voice came from the shuttle link. Do it carefully. We need to know what is on the other side. Ryan and Alira connected the generator and began the process. Sparks flickered as the energy flowed into the arch. Slowly, the shimmering light grew brighter, spreading across the room. The walls glowed with the same blue symbols responding to the power. Then a low sound filled the air, a deep tone that vibrated through their suits. Ryan looked at Alira. You hear that? She nodded. It is not sound. It is a signal. The station is waking up. The floor beneath them trembled slightly. The lights along the corridor lit up one by one, leading deeper into the station. The portal inside the arch stabilized, showing a swirling pattern like a storm of light. Suddenly, Alira's scanner beeped loudly. Energy signature detected. It matches the crystal device. Ryan's heart raced, so it was sending data here to activate this. Before they could decide what to do, a figure appeared inside the portal. It was not solid at first, just a shape made of light. Slowly, it became clearer. A tall being with long limbs and a smooth, featureless face. Its body glowed softly like molten glass. The security officers raised their weapons, but Alira lifted a hand. Wait, it does not attack. The being turned its head slowly toward them. Its voice echoed through the chamber without sound, directly into their minds. You are not the creators, it said in a calm, deep tone. Why have you come? Ryan's mouth went dry. We found a device on our ship that led us here. We did not mean to disturb you, the being tilted its head. The collector should have remained hidden. You have awakened the archive. Alira stepped forward. Archive? What is that? This station, the being replied. It holds knowledge of a lost civilization. The collectors were sent to learn from other species, but time has erased their purpose. You have reconnected the line. Ryan looked at Alira in disbelief. So the crystal was part of some ancient learning system? She nodded slowly. It makes sense. It was not spying for war, but for understanding. The being's glow dimmed slightly. Yet the knowledge it gathers is dangerous if used without wisdom. Many have tried to claim it. Few were worthy. The captain's voice came through the comm again. Ryan, Alira, what is happening there? Ryan replied, Captain, we made contact with an ancient entity. It says the station is an archive of knowledge. The captain's tone turned sharp. Be careful. Get all the information you can, but do not bring danger to the ship. The being turned toward the glowing arch. You have proven curiosity and unity, human and Sayali working together. The archive recognizes your bond. For this, I will grant access. Light spread from the portal, forming lines that led toward a console at the edge of the room. Symbols began to change into human letters. The console now showed data in a form they could read. Maps, designs, and ancient scripts. Alira whispered, "This is incredible. We can learn so much from this." Rian nodded but felt a chill. If this knowledge is too powerful, it could also bring danger. The being looked at them one last time. "Wisdom and restraint will decide your future." The archive will now sleep again. The light faded and the figure slowly vanished back into the portal. The hum of energy softened until only silence remained. Rian exhaled. That was real. Alira turned off the generator. "Yes, and now we must decide how much of this to take with us." They downloaded part of the data and returned to the shuttle. As the doors closed, Ryan looked back at the silent station. Its lights dimmed once more, drifting in the dark like a sleeping giant. Back on the Aurora Wind, the crew gathered around the data console. The captain watched as Alira displayed the first part of the recovered information. It showed star maps and energy formulas beyond anything known. The captain said quietly, "This could change everything," Ryan replied. "Or it could bring the same danger that destroyed that civilization." The captain looked thoughtful. "Then we must handle it with care." Alira glanced at Ryan and said softly, "The archive trusted us because we worked together. Maybe that is the lesson it wanted to teach." Ryan nodded slowly. Maybe humanity's strength is not only in invention but in cooperation. The Aurora Wind turned away from the dead station and continued its journey. The stars ahead seemed brighter, and for the first time in many days, hope filled the ship once again. Days passed since the Aurora Wind left the ancient station behind. The crew tried to return to normal work, but no one could stop thinking about what they had seen. The data they had brought back was full of strange knowledge, some of which they could not even understand. Ryan spent most of his time in the engine room, studying the new energy patterns from the archive's files. He believed that one of the designs could help improve their reactor efficiency. Alira often joined him, running calculations and checking for possible risks. "Your design could double the output," she said as she looked at the projection on her tablet. "But if we make one mistake, the reactor could overload." Ryan smiled faintly. "Then we make sure there are no mistakes." She gave a small nod. "You sound confident," he grinned. Confidence is a mechanic's only fuel. Their light exchange helped ease the tension in the room. Still, both of them knew the danger was real. The knowledge from the archive was far beyond anything humans or Sayali had ever used. By evening, they had completed the new system's model. The test would start the next morning. As Rian shut down the console, he noticed something unusual on the screen. A small flicker appeared in the lower corner. He frowned and touched the control panel. The flicker turned into a faint pulse, repeating every few seconds. "Alira, are you seeing this?" She leaned closer. "It looks like a signal again." Ryan's stomach tightened. "Not from the station, I hope." Alira checked the frequency. "No, it is different, but related. It may be a response to the archive's activation." Ryan's mind raced. If the archive woke up, maybe something else woke up too. Alira's eyes glowed softly as she studied the data. "The signal is moving. It comes from outside our current route. Something is approaching." Ryan tapped the comm link. "Captain, this is Ryan. We are picking up a signal on the engineering network. It is not part of our system." The captain's voice came through quickly. "Understood. Bridge sensors also detect a contact at long range. Unknown ship, minimal energy signature." Ryan and Alira looked at each other. The same thought crossed their minds. Whoever built the archive might not be gone after all. Moments later, the captain called them to the bridge. When they arrived, the view outside was dark, with a faint shadow moving against the stars. It was a ship, long and smooth like a blade, with faint lights running along its edges. "It is not on any known registry," the captain said. "It follows us without broadcasting any ID." Alira studied the readings on her device. Its energy pattern matches the archive's technology. "It may be connected," the captain frowned. "Then we need to be careful." "Open a communication channel." Rian watched as the bridge filled with soft static. After a few seconds, a deep voice came through. "This is Vessel 70 of the Guardian Fleet. Identify yourselves." The captain replied, "This is the human research ship Aurora Wind. We come in peace." We found one of your stations by accident. The voice was silent for a moment, then spoke again. You activated an archive. That act is forbidden for unregistered species. You must surrender the data. Ryan's heart sank. They want the knowledge back. Alira spoke quietly. If they are guardians, maybe they are protecting the archives. But surrendering may mean losing what we learned. The captain kept his tone calm. We did not steal anything. We only took what the archive gave freely. The voice turned cold. The archive cannot make choices. It is a system, not a being. You will surrender or be disabled. The line went silent. The crew looked at the captain, waiting for his decision. He turned to Ryan and Alira. Can we increase the engine output to maximum speed? Ryan nodded. Yes, but it will strain the system. We could use the new design from the archive. It might give us enough thrust to escape. The captain's eyes hardened. Do it. We cannot hand over knowledge that could help all of humanity. Ryan and Alira ran back to the engine room. The hum of the reactor filled the air as they activated the new configuration. Energy readings climbed higher than ever before. Power stable, Alira said. Reactor efficiency increased by 30%. Ryan grinned. That's enough. Captain, engines ready. The captain's voice came through the comm. Engage full burn. The ship shot forward through the darkness. The stars turned into streaks of light, but the Guardian vessel followed, closing the distance. Its design allowed it to move faster with less energy. They are gaining on us, Alira warned. Ryan looked at the data on the screen. If we overload the plasma flow by 10%, we might create a burst strong enough to break their tracking lock. She gave a quick nod. Do it, I will stabilize the reactor core. Ryan adjusted the controls. The engine roared louder and the entire ship shook. Alira's hands moved fast across the console, keeping the power balanced. The light in the room shifted from blue to white as energy built up inside the drive. Now, Ryan shouted. He pulled the lever and a surge of power burst from the engines. The Aurora wind shot forward with a speed no human ship had ever reached. For a brief moment, the stars vanished as space itself seemed to twist. Then everything went quiet. The shaking stopped. The ship slowed to normal speed. Alira checked the sensors. We lost them. The Guardian vessel is no longer in range. Ryan let out a long breath. We made it. The captain's voice came through again. Good work, engineers. But the reactor output is dropping fast. Bring it down before it burns out. Ryan and Alira quickly lowered the power flow. The lights dimmed and the hum softened back to normal. For a few seconds, there was only silence between them. Then Alira spoke softly. They will not stop. The Guardians will come again. Ryan nodded. Then we need to be ready next time. They ran another diagnostic to check for damage. The reactor had survived, though some coils were overheated. Alira began replacing the damaged parts while Ryan sat down to catch his breath. He looked at her and said quietly, You know, I thought the archive was a gift. But maybe it was a test. She paused and met his eyes. A test of how we use what we are given. Ryan smiled faintly. Then maybe we passed the first part. Later that night, the captain called the crew together. The bridge lights were dim and the stars outside looked endless. The data we recovered is powerful, the captain said. We must protect it, not for greed, but for knowledge. Humanity and Sayali both have much to learn. The Guardians may see us as unworthy, but we will prove them wrong. Ryan stood beside Alira, feeling a quiet strength in her presence. The words of the ancient being from the archive echoed in his mind. Wisdom and restraint will decide your future. He looked out the window at the dark expanse of stars. Somewhere out there, more archives might be waiting, filled with secrets of the past. The Guardians would come again, but so would opportunity. As the Aurora wind sailed on through the silence of space, Ryan knew one thing for certain. Humanity had already come too far to turn back. The Aurora wind drifted in silent space after the long chase. The crew worked to repair the engines while the stars outside shone like cold fire. Every person on board knew that the Guardians could return at any time. The archive data was both a gift and a threat. Ryan sat in the engine room beside Alira, staring at the glowing reactor core. It had survived the high energy burst, but barely. The metal panels still carried the heat marks of overload. He sighed and tightened a bolt while Alira checked the readings. The systems are stable again, she said quietly. But the main coil needs replacement before our next jump. Ryan nodded. I already sent the order to storage. I will handle it tomorrow. Alira turned her amber eyes toward him. You should rest. You have worked without pause for 2 days. He smiled slightly. I could say the same to you. She gave a faint nod. Sayali rests differently. We meditate for energy recovery. Humans require more sleep. He chuckled softly. I will sleep when I know the reactor will not explode in my dreams. Alira gave a small look of amusement, though her voice stayed calm. You joke too easily about danger. Ryan tightened the last bolt and stood up. That is how humans stay brave. If we stop joking, we start fearing. For a while, neither of them spoke. The hum of the engine filled the silence like a heartbeat. Outside, the ship floated quietly, surrounded by endless black. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The control panel flashed with a warning signal. Ryan turned sharply. That is not a power drop. It is another transmission. Alira checked her scanner. It is from the Guardians again. They are broadcasting a message. The captain's voice came through the comm. All crew report to the bridge. We have incoming contact. Rian and Alira hurried down the corridor. When they reached the bridge, the main screen showed the same blade-shaped vessel that had chased them before. It was still far, but closing fast. The captain stood tall. Put it through. A clear voice echoed across the bridge. It was the same Guardian they had spoken to earlier. Vessel Aurora Wind. You continue to travel with forbidden knowledge. You were warned once. Now you must return what you took, the captain answered firmly. We cannot return something that belongs to all who seek truth. The Archive chose to share it. The Guardian replied, The Archive does not choose. It only obeys ancient commands. You risk awakening powers you cannot control. Ryan stepped forward. Then teach us. If you guard knowledge, why not guide others to use it safely? There was silence for a few moments. Then the voice spoke again, softer this time. Few ask that question. Many only take, Alira spoke calmly. We are not here to take. We are here to learn. You saw what we did. We worked together. The Archive recognized our unity. It gave us trust. The Guardian ship remained still on the screen. Then a new light appeared beside it. Another ship uncloaked, larger and brighter. Its design was ancient yet beautiful, like a bridge of silver and gold floating through space. Rian's heart pounded. That must be a command vessel. The Guardian voice changed, becoming clearer and deeper. You speak with courage, human and Sayali. The Council of Guardians has heard your words. The choice is now yours, the captain frowned. Choice? The Archive you activated is one of many, the voice said. If you wish, you may return to your world and forget this path. Or you may continue forward and face the true test of understanding. But know this. The second path has no safety. The bridge went silent. Every crew member looked at one another. Rian felt the weight of the decision pressing on his chest. He turned toward the captain. If we stop now, the knowledge might be lost forever. But if we go on, we may not survive. The captain's eyes were steady. Great discoveries always carry risk. He looked at Alira. Engineer, what do you think? Alira's voice was calm but filled with quiet strength. The Archive tested our unity. Perhaps this test will measure our will to use knowledge with care. I say we continue. Ryan met her gaze and nodded. I agree. The captain straightened. Then it is decided. We continue. The Guardian voice responded. Very well. Follow the coordinates we send. The path will lead to the source of the archives. If you prove worthy, the knowledge will be yours. Moments later, a stream of data appeared on their screens. The coordinates pointed to a system deep in unknown space, far beyond any charted route. Course set, the navigator said. The Aurora Wind turned its bow toward the new destination. The engines came to life with a soft roar. As the ship accelerated, the Guardian's vessels remained behind, watching silently. For several days, the journey was quiet. The crew prepared for anything, knowing the test ahead could be their last. Ryan and Alira worked together in perfect rhythm. They repaired damaged systems, adjusted the reactor, and studied the fragments of data the archive had left. During one of their breaks, Ryan leaned against the console. You ever wonder why the archive chose us? Alira looked thoughtful. Perhaps it did not choose us at all. Perhaps we found it because we were meant to understand its message. What message? He asked. That knowledge without unity destroys, but unity turns knowledge into progress. Ryan smiled slightly. Then I guess we are the right team for that lesson. On the 7th day, the ship entered the system marked on the map. At its center floated a massive sphere glowing like a small star. Its surface shimmered with light and patterns moved across it like living metal. The crew stared in silence. Alira whispered, "The source of the archives." The captain ordered, "Approach carefully. Keep shields up." As they drew near, a beam of golden light extended from the sphere and touched the front of the Aurora Wind. The ship trembled but did not break. Then a voice filled every mind on board. It was vast and calm, like an ocean speaking. "You who seek the wisdom of the lost, you have come far. You have faced fear and shown unity. Speak now. Why do you seek the knowledge of the old ones?" The captain stepped forward. "Because we wish to learn, not to rule. We believe knowledge should be used to build, not to destroy." The voice replied, "Many have said those words. Few have lived by them. Show your truth." The ship's systems shut down one by one until only the engine room remained active. Ryan and Alira looked around in shock. "The source is testing us," Alira said. "It wants to see how we react." Ryan nodded. "Then we show them what humans and Sayali can do together." They began working without hesitation. Ryan handled the mechanical systems while Alira balanced the energy flow. They used every skill they had, keeping the reactor stable despite the power drain. Their teamwork was perfect, their focus unbroken. After several tense minutes, the ship lights flickered back to life. The golden beam faded and the voice spoke again. "You have passed. The bond between your kinds is true. The wisdom of the old ones will live again." The data systems lit up with streams of glowing symbols, transferring vast knowledge into the ship's memory. Then the sphere's light dimmed and the calm voice faded away. The captain watched the data pour in with awe. "We did it," Alira smiled faintly. "No, Captain. We learned. That is the real victory." Ryan looked out at the fading light of the sphere. "We proved that unity is stronger than fear." As the Aurora Wind turned away from the source and began its long journey home, the crew felt changed. They carried more than knowledge now. They carried purpose. The stars shone brighter around them, and deep inside the ship's heart, the engine hummed with steady life. Ryan and Alira stood together one last time in the glowing light of the reactor. "Think they will ever believe our story?" Ryan asked with a grin. Alira looked at him calmly. "They will believe when they see what we build with what we learned." Ryan smiled. "Then let's make sure we build something worth believing in." The ship sailed into the endless night, carrying the hope of two worlds and the wisdom of a lost civilization. Humanity had taken one more step toward the stars, not through power, but through unity and courage.